Vasudev Kutumbakam. The earth is a family. Now, today's keynote subject is sequel to the first keynote on transformational leadership. It's a sequel, and today I am going to express my views on the evaluation of governance, accountability, and transparency in all spheres of life. Let us see how the trend started of governance in India and when it started. Let us take the example of Ramayana. It's a perfect learning for the governance is to provide maximum happiness for the maximum people for the maximum period based on the principles of dharma. Here, dharma is not a religion but accountability. And it existed from 7000 BC. And the most important aspect here, what comes to my mind after doing a lot of reading, justice, respect, and it was known as Ram Rajya, which our great father of nation had his vision that when India achieves freedom, it will be Ram Rajya. Now I come to Bhagavad Gita. Again, the most important aspect in today's world is Bhagavad Gita. Lord Sri Krishna had explained this to his disciple Arjuna, and this is one of the most beautiful things which has happened on the universe. Now, what Bhagavad Gita says on the management, dharma, not religion again, but accountability. Loka Sangraha means transparency. It existed in that era also. Kaushalam, optimization, sustainability, judicious use of resources, vividata, creative or innovation. What we do through our research is vividata, and jigvasa is continuous learning for improvement. And a glaring example in today's world is Chat GPT, artificial intelligence, where my colleague Dr. Gadicha will enlighten each one of us through his beautiful journey of vividata, what is happening. Now I come to today's hero, that is Chanakya. I am going to extensively talk about him for next 10 or 12 minutes. Now what he says, and who was Chanakya? Chanakya was born in 4th century BC in India. He was humiliated by Nanda dynasty and he took a vow that I'll pull you down, because Nanda dynasty was famous for its corruption and unethical approaches, and he bought young Chandragupta Maurya, trained him and made him an emperor. And many few people know he is also credited with masterminding the defeat of Alexander in India, who was on his march to conquer the world. That's the power. As a political thinker, Chanakya visualized the concept of nation for the first time in human history. He documented books like Kautilya, Arthashastra, and Chanakya Niti. Arthashastra has 6,000 sutras classified into 15 books, 150 chapters, and 180 topics by Chanakya himself. And it is most relevant today also. Now, his organigram, let me tell you, starts with Swami or the king, what we call CEO, principal, dean, or whatever it may be. Amatya, ministers or managers, who are chief general managers, CEO, and whatever it may be. Any designation. Nanapada is country or a market. Durg is a fortified city or infrastructure, the building, the factory, and whatnot. Kosha is a treasury. Danda is army or workforce, and Mitra is ally or mentor. Today we talk, the words have changed, the concept remains the same. Now, what are the principles of governance? It's the starting of assignment. Now, if I get an assignment from Eudoxia, Dr. Singh is smiling. I get a beautiful letter, sir, you will be giving keynote address. That is the start of assignment. It makes me restless what I'm going to talk. Excellence of men and material. Now here, if I take, they select, the Eudoxia University select the best of the men and females, women, for making their keynote addresses, research materials, and whatnot. And materials is the tool. Suitable men and materials are selected. Provision against the failure. If someone fails, they have a provision or a standback. and accomplishment of the work. I know by the time I complete my lecture, within few minutes, I'll get a beautiful appreciation certificate. So that is how it was done in Chanakya's time, and today it is being done. And each and every aspect needs to be dealt with ethical approach. Dr. Anupama had come out very clearly with ethics in her research, tools, presentation. Yes, ethics becomes each and every part of the life, whether it is a personal or professional. Now, these are basically Chanakya's principle of governance, which are being followed today as well. Let us see the pyramid. Who is there in the pyramid? Governance, accountability, transparency, and we the people, we are responsible for ethical approach to make governance a best effective tool, accountable to the people transparently. In whole, I have tried to explain what is the pyramid of governance. Governance today, corporate governance rests with the vision and perception of the leadership. Being accountable means standing by decisions, action, and the overall well-being of the projects to provide appropriate, clear, accurate information, timely, easily understandable format to various stakeholders well within their rights. Meaning, transparency existed in the past and it will exist in present and future. Governance. The authority's capacity and willingness to pursue policies that benefit people. And coming over from corporates to corporate governance, the manner in which the corporation or the institute is run, achieving its objectives, transparency, again accountability, and each corporate house, according to me, is responsible to create good corporate citizenship. The processes and operating relationships that best achieve the organizational goals, because each corporate house or an educational institute or an university has to achieve its goal. Accountability. Each one working, whether we are in a family, society, or institutions, we are accountable for all our acts of deeds and misdeeds. So in short, it is an accountability which existed in past, today, and tomorrow as well. Transparency, openness, honesty, accountability in public and private transactions. If I pay something to a company, that company has to transparently tell me as a stakeholder how I am spending the money. That is transparency. I'm making it very simple. Transition. Now we are seeing the trend of corporate governance. Now, what is the transition today? What has come into account? Compliances, audits, internal audits, external audits for government organizations, audits by CAG, Comptroller and Audit General of India. There are Vigilance Department or compliance, and insider trading is a very strong tool introduced by SEBI through Government of India to keep a track of whatever is happening in the stock market. Focus areas for vigilance for any organization. Now, these are all creations by Chanakya, but they have come in a different name: people, places, and processes. 3 P's are the things where one has to, the king or the emperor or the CEO has to focus on 3 people, places, processes. That doesn't mean he does the policing, but he gives an attention to the people, places, and process so that the working becomes smooth. Now, transformation. We have seen the trend, transition, and transformation. Due to transformation, what has happened? In India, there is a Right to Information Act in the year 2005. Whatever the information is required by a common citizen, state government or central government, this is made public unless and until it is not confidential. So it is one of the biggest tools. Arbitration Act for big contracts. There is an Arbitration Act. In case of dispute, the arbitrator acts in an unbiased way and gives his award or reward for the problems what are being faced by the bidder or by the tenderer. Whistleblower policy 2011, it has not become government, it has gone up to the private players also. And in fact, in the recent past, I won't name, a very big bank, multinational bank, there was a whistleblower complaint and the CEO of the bank had to step down because of some unethical things. I won't name. If you have understood, please keep mum. But that is the power of the whistleblower policy, and it existed. And Chanakya was responsible for bringing the whistleblower policy. Now, what is whistleblower policy? It's protect the whistleblower, public servant. I'm talking about the government. Identity of the complainant has to be mentioned. The concerned official will not disclose the identity of complainant, and act also penalizes a person to disclose the if he has disclosed the identity, and of course if there are false complaint, the action is taken against the complainant. Meaning, now this act is prevalent to the private player as well. Now, triple bottom line impact, how it impacts: business impacts, economics, environment, and the society. This is all from the time of Chanakya, because for the simple reason that whatever is being learned here or developed today from east goes to the west and comes back to us. Now the question arises, why I have given so many examples. Now the shloka from Bhagavad Gita says that the sages and the kings acquired this knowledge, but the time has cast a veil of darkness over it because people became complacent. And that is how the laziness came in. And the governance was practiced by the leader in that area, good leader. However, after era ended, the values of governance diminished. It went down. Again, the leader is born to tell us the importance of the governance, and the veil, jo parda kehte hain hum log, has to be lifted. And whatever we have seen and learned till now, the concept was developed in the East, as I have told, propagated and taken by the West. And today also it is very much relevant because there are a lot of research papers done on the governance of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Chanakya, which is being researched in great universities like Harvard, Wales, whatnot. And because many civilizations collapsed and many nations failed because they did not have the vision at the right time for a proper governance. Finally, I would like to say, be the change you want to be. I'm ready to take any questions. I'll answer to the best of my ability. And before that, my acknowledgements to the authors of this book, Gita and the Art of Successful Management, Leadership Secrets from Mahabharata, Complete Chanakya Niti by Vishwamitra Sharma, and Chanakya's 7 Secrets of Leadership, Radhakrishnan Pillai, a management guru and a competent authority on Chanakya's teaching. Dr. D. Shivanandan, former Commissioner of Police, Mumbai and DGP Maharashtra. Dr. Shivanandan is responsible to break the backbone of underworld criminals when he was Commissioner Mumbai, and today it is free of underworlds. It is because of good leaders like him who follow and act like Chanakya. And with that, I would like to humbly thank each one of you for listening to me very patiently. And more so, my experience and the research has given me a lot of inputs on governance and corporate governance. And I would like to even thank one of my colleagues, Mrs. Usha Popat. She actually told me, since you are doing your doctorate, why don't you do a research on how the evolution of corporate governance has, from where it has come. And that research and reading helped me to make my presentation today. And finally, I would like to say, who's a leader? One may get a leadership chair or a position by hereditary power or influence, but if one is not capable, the chair will not keep him into the power. It is by Swami Chinmayananda. Sir, I complete my presentation well within the time.